And you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And now, boys and girls, let me hear you recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since I was a small boy, 2 states have been added to our country, and 2 words have been added to the Pledge of Allegiance: under God. Wouldn't it be a pity if someone said that is a prayer and that would be eliminated from schools too?
They've torn Portland all to pieces and let Chicago go to hell. There's people leaving New York City like they rang the fire bell. They call themselves enlightened, canceled those who don't agree. I wish all these folks who claim they're woke would just go back to sleep. I'm just saying, have we all lost our minds? I'm just saying, where do we draw the line? I know y'all think it takes balls to be singing what I'm singing, but I'm just saying what you're thinking. I believe in live and live and live. We're all free to each their own. If you were born a he and wanna be a she, do your thing, but leave my kids alone. I'm just saying, have we all lost our minds? I'm just saying, where do we draw the line? I know y'all think it takes balls to be singing what I'm singing, but I'm just saying what you're thinking. We send them off to college to get them educated. They send them back to us indoctrinated. And how much are we paying? I'm just saying, have we all lost our minds? I'm just saying, where do we draw the line? No offense, but common sense is the direction that I'm leaning. Some of y'all think it takes balls to be singing what I'm singing, but I'm just saying what you're thinking. Yeah, what you're thinking. And like they say, folks, it's a new day in the neighborhood. And it's so sad because here we are now trying to figure things out. As always, I try to open up with a quote. And it kind of goes off of last week's quote. To exist is to change. To change is mature. And to mature is to go on creating oneself endlessly. Henry Bergson. Again, to exist is to change. To change is mature. And to mature is to go on creating oneself endlessly. You know, folks, the Masonic Lodge, Masons, they take good men. Their motto is they take good men to make them better. In today's society, we need men. And just like Austin Moody said, it takes balls. It takes balls to stand up and say, you're not going to play this game. And that's the problem with our country. No one wants to stand up or stand out. We all have it within us. We really, truly do. And you know, it's because of reasons like this next one. I have to play these two songs back to back. I really have appreciated the opportunity, by the way, for which to do this. It really means something to me because these two artists, for instance, seriously speaking, these two guys are really are making
web design, e-commerce, online advertising, SEO, and more. Web.com. One stop, all done.
Here we go. Nope, it's still on. Give me 3, 2, 1. Here we go. It says it so well, bro.
Sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk, carjacking old lady at a red light, pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool, act a fool if you like. Cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough. Well, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town. Got a gun that my granddad gave me. They say one day they're gonna round up. Well, that shit might fly in the city. Good luck, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town full of good old boys, raised up right. If you're looking for a fight, try that in a small town. Try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I reckon Try that in a small town. Try that in a small town. Ooh, try that in a small town.
And you know, folks, I've been opening up the past couple of weeks with these songs, and there's a reason for that. Number one, I like the songs. Number two, you just saw another version of the Jason Aldean. This is how media, social media, all the nutcases are getting. He can't even keep up. He wouldn't even keep up his original video because they want to take him down. They want to take down people that are telling the truth. And right now, in these days, there are very few that are telling the truth. And we see that amongst this administration. The lies, let me introduce you to another word, prevarications of these people in public office need to stop. They need to be held accountable, and they need to be removed from office and jailed. We know all of them. What's it going to take? I can tell you right now, I don't know except for the election coming up. And even then, I'm not so sure it can be a fair election. I am going to make this a little short show because I'm in the midst right now of bringing a family together. I found out several months ago that I have a son. I'm very proud of him. I could not ask God, the Creator, to have given me a son that I could be more proud of. His mama is a wonderful woman. We all make bad mistakes, and we all make some lifelong wonderful changes. And that's what we're doing now. We're actually on a trip, he and I. He's meeting his grandfather for the first time, my father. And I love my father with all my heart. He's my stepfather. Let's clarify things. He adopted me when I was just about 14. And you know, if it wasn't for that man coming into my life, and believe me, I was a rough, dumb, full of piss and vinegar kid, getting in fights constantly. In fact, the two things I love to do both begin with F. Fighting is one. You can figure out the other one. Oh, I can say that word, fornicate. But seriously speaking, you know, I was a very, very, very tough kid. I'm not going to even sugarcoat it. I had my moments of being good, but seriously, I needed a lot of work. This young man went 33 years without his life, and he's in a better spot at 33 than I was when I was at 33. That I can assure you. And, you know, it's an amazing thing that we can make this work and make it happen, because he has an older sister and two younger brothers, and his older sister is struggling. I feel as though we probably have to step forward and help her even more, because she has, I feel, some mental illness, some dementia, and she does have tinnitus, and that's an ear problem, and that's a precursor to dementia. And you know, on a lot of my podcasts, I've said things like, what is wrong with all these people that are on the streets, blah, 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 and always saying the family needs to bring them back in. These men, as of late, there's been certain men and young boys that have been shot and killed in self-defense by law enforcement agents, and in some cases, self-defense of good Samaritans, trying to protect other people. And you know, those good men, both LEA and women, LEA, and out there in the world, that are trying to help protect people, and unfortunately someone dies. And everyone says, oh, they were such a great guy or such a great person, but they were mentally ill. They don't have a sign on their head that says, I'm a basket case. I'm mentally ill. I know I have some harsh words. Don't mean to. I'm a basket case half the time, so I can say that. But seriously, they don't have anything that says, I am sick and I need help. And that's where I feel as though now, at my time in life, I have to step up, not only for my son, but for his half sister and half brothers. And I feel as though it's my job, believe it or not. It's my obligation, believe it or not. It is just innately built in me that I've always said men should be there to provide and protect the family. And now I have got to try to walk that talk. And I'm going to do the best I can. We're making some leadway in getting her into a shelter and then hopefully into a program for drug addiction. Yes, I'm airing some laundry here. But the thing is, it's real life. It's kind of like what's going on in Cameron, the little town I live by. It's real life. Heath Gilbert had his First and 14th Amendment rights violated. And he has placed a civil lawsuit against the Cameron High School administration. Certain people. They should be held accountable. But if we don't stand up, if Heath doesn't stand up and do what he has to do, these men and women are going to walk. And these are teachers, by the way. Again, Cameron High School board, the school administration, they are our teachers. It is unbelievable, in my opinion. It's unbelievable that these teachers have been running amok for decade plus. I may have mentioned this in the last program. I'm going to mention it again. Back in 2014, believe it or not, cursive writing was taken away. And that's sad. It's old people now, old people language. They better bring it back because these young people need to read cursive, write cursive, so they can read, identify with the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Articles, and so on and so forth of our government. If they can dumbify our children, the students, just make them turnips. You don't have to ever learn how to write, blah, blah, blah. That is not doing our children any good. And that's where we have to come up and step forward. I could go on and in one way I want to, but we've got these leaders, as I said earlier, about being a liar. They're not living true to their words. At least I'm going to give it my best shot to stepping in and being a father for all of these young people because they need that. They don't have good examples, sadly enough, for which to follow. Not that I'm any better of an example, but I know I've got to be better than an alcoholic and a meth head. I know I have to be. And that's the whole thing is being able to just take that bull by the horn and say, I'm going to try and do this. But there are so many people that are not wanting to bring that family member back home. And when that family member dies sadly in the street, the guilt is going to be upon them all. They're going to have to try to figure this out. I'm going to tell you a little story about a handicap situation. I watched a car pull up. It was a big Cadillac. I watched a young man jump out of the passenger door, and he ran into the pharmacy. So I got out of my car. I walked around the car, noticed the car didn't have any plates, nor was there a placard hanging. The driver, by the way, was still in the vehicle. And I said to him, I said, excuse me, I said, you do know you're in a handicapped parking space. He goes, I do. And he goes, I'm not in my car. And he opened the door and he said, I am handicapped. And he had one leg. And I looked at him and I was so embarrassed. And he looked at me and said, sir, don't be embarrassed. It's because I was apologetic big time. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. He goes, don't even say that, sir. He goes, in fact, I wish more people like you would step up to these cars that are parked illegally and confront and speak to the owners that are taking that handicapped parking space. Now, granted, anyone here can say, well, what big deal of it is that? Well, guess what? Just imagine you needed that for your mother, your father, your grandmother, your aunt, uncle, friend, whoever. and you can't get one because some inconsiderate, ignorant person who narcissistically only thinks of and about themselves take up that space. You would be very upset. I would like to think you would be, and you may or may not say something. Now I'm going to bring you up to date to still another event. I pulled by, saw a vehicle, no tags on it. I backed up. I said, "Ma'am, do you mind, moving your vehicle?" I've had a bad couple of weeks, by the way, with my health. I need it to be close as possible. And she just, F you, blah, 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 rolls up her window, the whole 9 yards. I'm like, wow. Where's that cop, that police officer when you need it? You know what I mean? So as I was walking, she put the window down and she goes, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And she just started saying I was stalking her and everything else. This is at a Walmart parking lot, by the way. And trust me, I felt bad for the woman. She was not an attractive lady whatsoever. I think I'm a good judge of that. But what made her really unattractive was the words that she spoke, the hatred that she spewed out, the ugliness of her being, which could possibly very well have made that connection as to why she was so not someone you'd walk up to and say, "Hey, how you doing? You having a nice day?" Because you could just tell she hated life. And of course, I took a picture. And then, by the way, as she's pulling out, she pulls up her placard. She apparently found it in her purse. Great. Too late, but that's okay. I could care less. But, these people, they think they are deserving of, and they should get passes for. So you're going to have to start looking at your leaders in politics and figuring out whether this is the type of person you want to surround yourself with. By the way, I've already given warning. Yes, I'm thinking about running for governor in the state of Missouri. That is very true. There are quite a few things that are on the top of my mind that I would like to deal with. First and foremost, above everything, is to refund the police. Secondly, if the prosecuting attorneys are not living up to their oath of office, get them removed, whatever way it takes, and have them replaced. Because they should not be protecting the criminals. They should not be helping the criminals. They should be helping the victims find peace. That's what they should be doing. To find that resolution to that crime of a loss of life, a rape, a molestation, what have you. A burglary. It doesn't matter. Criminals belong behind bars. And then we have some of the higher ups within Congress. Cori Bush out of St. Louis. She has her own private security around her. And yet St. Louis, you don't even want to be down there at 9 o'clock in the morning. East side especially. Daylight, don't go. Nighttime, don't go. If you go, you are definitely taking your life into your own hands. So here we have Governor Mike Parsons, and I don't understand this. I've reached out to him many times, trying to get him on a program. And I don't understand how is it that we have a state representative, one of our state representatives is Maisie Boyd. I interviewed her, if you remember. She is an amazing woman, young 24, 25-year-old lady, I believe. And she's really making leadway in the House. We have another gentleman in the Cameron School District who is the state representative. That name would be, of course, Dean Van Schuik. Well, Dean apparently doesn't like me anymore. And I think that's probably because I called him out on the fact that his wife and daughter are both teachers. There's pornography in the schools. He's affiliated with the Teachers Retirement Fund as being a teacher, I believe. And 3 months ago, before this even exploded in Cameron, 3 months ago, I reached out to him and told him this is what's going on. Don't you have an obligated duty to check on these teachers, to check on what's going on and get involved in our fight? Well, I guess because I called him down or called him out, told him what I felt, he no longer likes me. And yet, at the end of our interview, he did say he'd possibly come back on. I am going to reach out and see if I can get him back on. But when you have a conflict of interest, as in the case of Mr. Van Schuik, Dean Van Schuik, state representative over here in Missouri. When you have a conflict of interest, I don't think you should be, quote, you would think you should be a retired teacher should be in, for instance, in this case, the Retirement Teachers Fund Committee, whatever. You would think that that would be a good move, but the thing is, they're protecting only themselves. They're caring about only themselves. They're not looking out for the better interests of the people. And unlike Maisie Boyd, you hear nothing from Dean Van Schuik. You hear nothing. One little flyer in 9 months' time that he's been in office, a year that he's been in office. Whoop-de-doo. Are you flipping kidding me? Maisie Boyd puts out something every week, sometimes twice a week, informing the community of what she is doing, where she's wanting to go, and how she should go. Being a governor can't be that difficult. My God, Pennsylvania put Fetterman in for a senator. They elected him for a senator. Fetterman has half a brain, and the other half doesn't even work. Seriously. We've got Joe Biden, worst president ever, will go down in history as such. I'm not understanding how he's still around. And that's all I'll say about that. And I feel that if these two bozos can really be in public service at a high level, why not myself? You know, it's not that hard to figure out all the different departments of government when you're in the governor's position, to know who's in charge of the EPA, who's in charge of healthcare, who's in charge of transportation, so on and so forth. And you just go right down the line. And then you look at these people and you think to yourself, and you get their resumes and you say, what have they done? What have they accomplished? What have they done in service since they've been there? And I'm going to tell you, if you give a person responsibility, you've given them power. And when they have power, they should be able to, hopefully, do their jobs better. I want to have a big joke about all that I'm doing. I really do. I want to have a big joke and throwing it at the Democratic Party. I know it's not nice, but we have to do this. I'm going to go over to comments real quick. Got a couple of people watching. Ruth, Chad, thank you. Both of you guys. You know, the thing is, it starts with us. It starts with us and our local government. And do I think I'd be okay at governing? I don't know. I don't think there's really a book on it. But I've got to tell you, as a governor, number one thing I will do for my constituents in my state, if I were elected, I would make sure I'm doing at least one time a month, once a month, for 1, if not 2 hours, a complete Q&A. I think a governor needs to be informed by the people what's going on, what their concerns are, and where they want to go. I think what the governor also should, in this position, get rid of the NEA and do everything to absolve it in the state of Missouri. They are not helping our students at all. Our mathematics and English levels are so far down the toilet. We're at a third world country intellectual level, educational level, believe it or not. Third world country. A lot of our kids can't do math. A lot of them can't read. Even in just print, they can't read. That's sad. What are we going to do about it? Well, I don't know what I'm going to do about it, but I know we are trying our very best to get the word out here on the Common Denominator Network. We have the logbook with Kimberly and Dakota. They're knocking it out of the park. They are fighting for the veterans like there is no tomorrow. We've got Chad and Sally. They do Truck It on Tuesday nights. And I've got to tell you, if you want to have a program that has a lot of spice, a lot of variety, that's where it's at. This week, I didn't do anything for a show. Didn't want to, because I think, again, it goes back down to last week saying this. You know, it's not finding yourself that's important. It's creating yourself. And I'm actually paraphrasing that for the moment. But it links in definitely with what I said earlier on here, which was, again, to exist is to change is mature, and to mature is to go on creating oneself endlessly. that means it goes on forever and ever and ever. So, folks, I think a lot of you do know, I've got a legal situation at hand. I can't talk about what I want to talk about, have wanted to talk about for several months. It's going to come to pass. It's going to come to an end real soon. And the malarkey's got to stop. The hatred has got to stop. The lies have got to stop. So, yes, am I serious about running for governor? Yes. Now, I will give you a little tidbit. On the 23rd of April, upcoming show, Paul Venable, if you look him up on the internet, on Facebook, Paul Venable, Venable, is scheduled to be on here with me. He ran for Senate. Well-spoken man. He did okay, by the way, for the Constitution Party, of which, of course, I didn't even do my Pledge of Allegiance to my Constitution. We'll save that for another time. And I do owe everyone an apology because last show I did not give my normal farewell, which is I love you all, and I mean that. But right now, I think I'm going to enjoy my little bit of a mini vacation. I hope you enjoyed those songs. I hope you got something out of how some people can be so kind and some people can be so rude. And like I said, that gentleman with no leg, he was kind to me. Oh, he could have yelled, screamed, and hollered and called me all kinds of names, and rightfully so. But he wasn't. He was actually grateful for me standing up for that handicapped spot for someone who needs it. And that's the whole thing, folks. It really comes down to something so simple as respect amongst each other. Right now, I think we've got a lot of great people that are watching, by the way. I love all you guys. But I'm struggling because I cannot, like I said, put together a show. This week I'm in travel. I'm actually in Augusta, Georgia. Actually in Blairsville right now. Again, visiting my father. But I want you to enjoy this trip that we're on together. Because I'll tell you what, I've made some wonderful friends here. And there's not any of you that I like to change or trade in the whole wide world. And I really mean that. I really mean that. So, again, I'm going to call it an early show just to let you know I'm still in the game, to let you know that the piss and vinegar is building up. And when I say I'm going to be putting out a fire and pissing on it, oh yeah, it's going to be huge. And I can't wait. We have got to stand strong. We have to have faith. We have to worry about election integrity first coming up in 2024. And we have really got to look at the people that are running. We want good people in office. We want good people that will serve. We want people that will hold true to their oaths of office. Unlike Cori Bush, who has all that protection around her while blood is pouring in the streets of St. Louis because of her. Not anyone else. Her and her party. And letting criminals out. Again, we need to keep them in jail, maybe make some more cells, and make them all one big happy family. In the meantime, I'm going to bid you farewell tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry it was a short show. I promise next week, I'm promising, next week, hopefully we'll have a little bit more fun. Don't give up hope. Don't give up faith. And believe. And if you can't believe in anything that's going on around you, start with number one and believe in yourself. I love you from the bottom of my heart. Graciously, Vincent. On to, well, what can I say? On to my closer. I love to put on my buddy Russell. Thank you. Good night.
The song is for all Americans. I just wrote this last night. Well, some say I'm trouble, some say I'm extreme. 'Cause I love this country and the American dream. And I'll let no politician tell me what to do. My blood runs country with work on my hands. Well, you respect your neighbor and you respect the land. And I'll let no president tell me what to do. 'Cause my blood runs red, white, and blue. Yeah, my blood runs red, white, and blue. Yeah, Daddy taught me right from wrong. When to be humble and when to be strong. And I'll fight for freedom if that's what I must do. 'Cause my blood runs red, white, and blue. Now Papa's passed while I was off to war. And this country's changing, it ain't the same anymore. But I'll fight for freedom, yes, I'll fight for you. 'Cause my blood runs red, white, and blue. Hope you like it. Keep the faith, brothers. Stand strong. Fight for freedom.